This is director Dustin Ferguson, and you're listening to the Deeper Than Music podcast.
Hello, this is Joe Williamson with the Williamson Management, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music podcast.
Hi, I'm singer-songwriter and actor Robert Avayanet, and you're tuning into Deeper Than Music.
Deeper Than Music.
Deeper Than Music Radio.
You, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. Deeper than music. Deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music. Deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. Deeper than music. Deeper than music.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Deeper than music, behind every great song, there's an even greater story. I like to say what's up to everybody listening to us on Spotify, Spreaker, Geo7, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and all the great podcasts that are listening to this show. Today we have a very, very special guest. I like when I see and talk to multifaceted people. I call this guy a triple threat. He was an NFL athlete. Now he has his production company, producer, and then also an actor. You would recognize him. He was a running back for the Seattle Seahawks, and also he's been in films and plays such as Better Dayz, Law and Order, Nurse Jackie, Ray Donovan, New Amsterdam, Orange is the New Black, and a film series that's near and dear to my heart, Whentheyseeus. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Jimmy Gary Jr. here on Deeper Than Music Radio. How you doing, Jimmy?
Hey, I tell you, man, the check is in the mail. That was a great introduction. I mean, I'm telling you.
You know what I just found out?
What's that?
So I found out Eva, man, I don't want to jack up her last name. The director, Eva DuVernay. She is the most paid black director. I just found that out today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So shout out.
It's real. Yeah. Shout out to Ava for that. But you know what? Ava need to be the top paid director, period. Take the whole black out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just fierce, man. I love Ava to death. I love her. She's a mover and a shaker. She's a woman of her word. She's not going to tell you something and not do it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to satisfy everybody in your group.
Oh yeah.
But they find a way to do that.
Yeah.
Not one person walks around upset because Ava didn't do what she said she was going to do.
Man, that's pretty awesome. And I guess since we're talking about her, and then your work with Whentheyseeus, I felt like she didn't sugarcoat anything when the way they did that film. Like everything was right there, bam, in your face. And I appreciate that she did that. How did you feel about your role in the movie, and how did that movie affect you? What did that movie mean to you, or that series?
Oh, wow. Well, I heard about Central Park 5. I was in college when that happened. So I was older. Yeah, so I was, those guys they're around my age, I guess, so that was something. And then when Donald Trump putting in the newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
All this propaganda, things like that. I was happy that Ava, brought it back to light because we had forgot about it. To be honest.
Oh yeah.
No one was thinking about Central Park 5, but the guys who lived there.
Mm-hmm.
It never left them, but it left everybody else. Or it didn't leave the people that were close to them that actually went through it with them.
Yeah.
But it is crazy though, because that whole movie started with Ava because I think it was. I forgot which one of them emailed. They sent Ava they DM'd Ava, and they started talking about what happened, and Ava jumped on it quickly. Man, she jumped. All started from just a DM, but I guess it's who you getting the DM from to make it go that fast. So it was a great film all around, and I was very honored to be a part of it. I played the barber in my scenes. It's based on a real movie, so I guess these are real people. And the barbershop was called, the guy name was Ty, and Ty the barber, Ty's barbershop, and in Harlem, and the movie was so sad.
Oh yeah.
and such a wonderful cast. The actors brought it to life. I mean, we were present, we were there. It was so sad. One of the things that Ava told me was my scene was the light of the film, because in the barber scene, that's the only film where something tragic wasn't happening.
Yeah.
You know, there was laughter, it was a little bit of it was an educational moment, because I was telling young guy, once you're incarcerated, you can't find a job. Once you're in jail and you get out, you can't get a job. That's period.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. And so I was happy to be the one to deliver that message. I'm so happy Ava cast me and chose me in this part, because it's challenging out here for an actor. I've been out here doing it 20 years. I've done a lot of big projects, and I'm always grateful when I'm cast. And you know how this industry goes. It's only really 2 or 3 people that's really cast. Everybody else uses somebody that the director knows, the producer knows. They know what they're going to get, so they cast these the actors that they know. So really, it's only a few that actually are new to the production. In a lot of cases, not in all cases, but some of them.
Yeah. Man, so that's deep. So I want to start with the beginning, because I know like you started off with sports, NFL, and then while you were in high school, you were parade All-American. So how did that all start? Did you know from a young age, or did you come from an athletic family? Was that what you wanted to do? Was be an athlete?
Well, I grew up playing football. I played from Pee Wee. When I was 7, that's when I started.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I wanted my grandfather to see me play. My grandfather, actually, Charlie Talbot, passed away when I was 7, so he never got a chance to see me play. But he actually inspired artists in me, and I'll get to that later.
Yeah.
He inspired that. Yeah, I came from a very athletic family. Being in Okeechobee, that's all I did was play sports with my friends. We played tackle football, man, in grass at the age of 7, 8. So so I was playing, and my cousin, I have a cousin who played with University of Miami Hurricanes, and he was drafted first round, Cleveland Gary, first round, the LA Rams. My brother-in-law at the time, Jimmy Jones, was actually he played for the University of Miami also, and he went second round to the Dallas Cowboys. So you can see right now that I was kind of everyone was hoping that I went to University of Miami, that I would go there. I actually went to West Virginia University. But I grew up playing sports. I grew up playing football. It was just something that I was good. I was the fastest guy in the town. Then I found out I was the fastest guy in my city. Then I was one of the fastest in the state and one of the fastest in the nation. And I was honored with being the #1 speed back in the country, parade All-American, max and finger All-American. And I was, to be honest with you, man, like those accolades and those awards, to a lot of people they were big, but to me, it was just like, it was just what it is. I just wanted to play football. It was a rough game.
Yeah.
And that's how we grew up with our friends. We grew up wrestling and all this stuff. So football was right in that, fit right in the mix with that. I started playing tackle football probably at the age of 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. You started off real early.
Yeah. Playing tackle football.
Wow. Yeah.
With no pads, just us, just outside playing, playing football. And, we're from a very athletic family. My father, Jimmygaryjr Sr., was very athletic. All my uncles were very athletic. So it was kind of, something just in our bloodline, athleticism. So I kind of things just came easy to me when it came to football. And, it kept us out of the streets, man.
Oh man. And then how was that like going from college to the NFL, man, was that like a big trend? Like, how did that make you feel, knowing that you've done high school, now you're in college, and now you're off to the big leagues? How was that?
It was a great feeling. I wish I would have enjoyed it a little more. Now that I look back on it, I was too serious, man. The older I'm getting, I realize you can't be too serious. Focus is one thing. Serious.
Yeah.
So I wish I would have enjoyed the process a little more. I had a rough college career, man. I got injured in college. So by the time I got to the NFL, my body was almost done.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was with Seattle for a short time. But it was great. It was great out there, man. Dennis Erickson was the coach who also recruited me out of high school when he was at the University of Miami. Isn't that something, right?
Wow.
Wonderful guy. It was one of those things like as a kid, you have a childhood dream, and then when it finally, it gets there, you're like, okay, now what, and, I would tell kids now, set your dreams higher than any expectations you may imagine or anyone can imagine for you. Just don't, dream to play professional football, dream to win Super Bowls, dream to be a Pro Bowler, dream to be a Hall of Famer. Because when you set the bar that high, even if you miss being in the Hall of Fame, you're still going to be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
It's like Donovan Simpson used to say, shoot for the moon. If you miss, you'll still be amongst the stars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There you go. And then I like how you said, and one thing that we'll talk about is you're also multifaceted. Like, you did the football career, but also in between becoming an actor, you did come on hard times. I like to talk about the time period when you lived in your car and the rough patch.
Oh God, yeah. So NFL stands for not for long for some people.
I never heard that before. Okay.
Right. And so in my case, which was very disappointing and very sad on my behalf, because I was expecting and wanted to have a long NFL career, like most of people that I admired and looked up to. I wanted to have a long career, but it wasn't that long, But it was fun. It was fun while it lasted.
Okay.
It was fun while it lasted, man. Acting was something that I wanted to do from as a kid, looking at Jim Brown, do the acting thing. And I remember watching, it's weird, when I watched television as a kid, some of the actors that I used to watch, I ended up actually being in some shows with these actors. So it's like, did I manifest that when I was a kid?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying any names now, but I would say as a kid, I used to watch this television show. And there was this young lady on this television show. I just thought she was so beautiful, man. I was probably, God. Oh man, I don't know. I was young. I was probably like 9, 11, 10, 11, something like that. I'm not sure. But I used to watch that show because of her. She wasn't on it. She wasn't a regular on it all the time. She was on it a lot.
Okay.
When I came to New York, after I got settled, went through my homeless period, I actually dated her.
Oh, really? Oh, that's the next level right there. Okay.
That's next level stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's crazy, So, yeah, but as a child, I always dreamt of that, of television and film and football, that one catapulting the other, And, coming to New York after I left Seattle, I actually went, after I was released from Seattle Seahawks, I went back to Florida. And I'm going to say it quick because this is going to go quick. It's like crazy. I went back to Florida after I was released. I got injured. They released me. I went back to Florida. My truck, I got married.
Oh,
Not
wow.
the actress lady, but this is so much college sweetheart. We got married.
Okay.
After I flipped my truck, we got married. stayed married for about 4 or 5 months, and we got a divorce.
Wow.
And because I wanted to be an actor, she told me to come back to reality. She told me to like go be a PE coach. So I was like, really? What you think? All right, I'm gonna show you. And so I went to West Virginia, man. They gave me a full scholarship. I went to West Virginia and I studied acting. And we got a divorce, and you know, man, I don't think. I mean, we don't even talk now. Like it's like that. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I started out, man, I didn't have any support. You know, from anyone, because I played football. It's hard making that transition. So when I went to New York, they looking at me 6 feet and a half, 225 pound, bald head, black man. Like, you know, it was hard for me to get a job. It was just hard with no resume, because all I did was play sports my whole life.
Yeah.
You know, and so it was hard for me to get a job. And I got frustrated, and I said, you know what, screw that. It's going to be acting. Acting. I bought a car for $100 from a director that I had worked with.
Wow.
The car broke down, and he didn't want to go get it from the side of the road. So he sold it to me for $100. I went under that hood, man, and I messed around with that battery wire and stuff and all that, and was looking at it, and that sucker crunk up. It had to be God.
Wow. That's what I say. God's divine right there.
Yeah, and I drove that car, and I drove it to Jamaica, Queens, and I was parked on a street in Jamaica, Queens, and that's where I slept for about 3 months, 2.5, almost 3 months. And I would go to New York Sports Club, take showers. I was too embarrassed to really say anything to anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but I didn't care, because my mind was on being successful in this act. And you're talking about putting my pride in my back pocket. Coming from Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
Going to that, you know, is but you know, for me, it's like, there's like, man, how can you pick yourself up and keep going and this and that? It's because I know and I understand that nothing's forever.
I like that. Because that's what I was going to ask you. Like, what kept you motivated? Because it seems like it was just, you know, they say bad things come in three. It was like you were going through multiple storms. And I was going to ask you what kept you motivated. And like you said, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to last forever. Right. And I believed in myself. And, you know, I look now, you know, and I say, you know, I just believed in myself, and I knew that if I got that opportunity, I would take advantage of it. So now I'm like, I come from a car, living in a car, to this view.
Oh, wow. No, that's a lovely view right there, the city.
You see
that?
Like, so that's something for me and my kids that I look at. Like, my daughters know I lived in a car. They know I was homeless. I mean, my family knew, but they don't know the extent of it, you know. But in my mind, I just want to make money. I want to take care of my family, you know. I had a family. This is before my daughter that's here was born. But I left Florida, like, you know, I left Okeechobee, like, I'm going to New York so I can take care of my family back in Florida, in Okeechobee.
Yeah.
So that was part of my drive. And, you know, and that was my why. You know, a lot of people have why they do things, you know.
Yeah.
My why was my family. And I'm not just talking about my mother and my father. I'm talking about my siblings, my nephews, my nieces, you know, putting myself in a position to be able to help the members in my family.
Wow.
That's what it's about. Because at the end of the day, we all know that family should be everything.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you should always be able to call them family. But family's got to be in a position to answer that call.
Yeah.
Position. And if family members aren't putting other family members in positions to be strong when they're weak, then you have to depend on fickle friends. You have to go outside the box, and you're actually hurting and killing a generation of your family because you're not teaching them
Yeah.
You're not teaching them, your family is your tribe. That's your first tribe that we're in. The tribe have to take care of each other. So that's what I was big on. Every family member's not like that,
No, they're definitely not.
They're not a lot of them. They just don't care, man. They don't care. But that was my why. When I was staying in that car, living in that car, how I can get up. Some nights I didn't sleep because I was disguising it like no one was in the car, you know. Man, I would wake up 4:30, 5, and as soon as the light hits, I would get up. It'd still be dark sometimes. And I go to the New York Sports Club and I take a shower, I change clothes, and I hit the city and go out my day. I did that for a while. And then guess what? I ended up working at New York Sports Club as a master trainer.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So that was my journey. I wouldn't take it back. That experience was wonderful. It taught me a lot about myself, and it taught me a lot about what I can endure as a man. And I think one of my proudest moments was when, I was on the show. My first national thing was all my children and my family and everybody got a chance to see me.
Oh, okay. Oh, relatives that watch. I remember my grandma used to watch All My Children. So, a lot of people watch soap operas. So that's what I was going to say. Family members, I know they saw that.
Yeah, they saw it, man. They loved it. And that was one of my proudest moments because a lot of people didn't think I could, they didn't think I could actually survive or make a living in this industry. I don't know why, but sometimes, I don't know you personally, but if you told me you wanted to skate across the Atlantic Ocean, you know what I'm saying, or do something like that, I may think it's impossible, but I'm not going to tell you can't do it.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that, Jay-Z, he said something, man, and it really stuck out with me. He said, sometimes you can't listen to other people because they'll put their limitations on you. If they didn't do it, and it made sense, right? It made sense. So here you are outside the box, like, look, I'm going to go do this big thing. And so some people, it's unfathomable because they already put limitations on themselves.
Yeah. And in that it's challenging out here, man. You got a lot of fake people, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was so sheltered I wasn't sheltered. I wouldn't say I was sheltered, but I was blessed enough to meet so many great people in my life that when I came to New York and I ran into my first snake, it really hurt me because I had never experienced it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had never experienced that, or I was moved out of my first deal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to do things, or somebody, and sometimes things don't work out the way you want them to work out. But you just keep going, man. There's people out there. You have to find the good people. Yeah. Everybody in this world, bro. Everybody in this world. Not everybody in the world. I ain't gonna say everybody in the world, but a lot of people in this world, when it comes to eating, making money, eating, they're gonna feed the people that's close to them first.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right. So it just taught me what I learned is that in this industry, if you want to eat, you got to build relationships.
Oh yeah. People. Oh yeah. It's and I feel like with this Instagram and social media, people want to build. I read this book called Power Networking a long time ago, but people want that instant popcorn and instant relationships. It's like, no, you got to build a rapport with people, and you got to show them that it's genuine. You know what I mean? And now in these Instagram, YouTubes, everybody wants it like it don't work like that. You got to network. Right.
It doesn't work like that, and it's weird because a lot of people that are Instagram famous and social media famous, a lot of them aren't artists.
So I want to ask you a question, because one of your credentials is you played a very powerful role in a very powerful man that fought for civil rights and had a revolt, man. How was it playing Nat Turner? How was that experience?
Playing Nat Turner was the most challenging experience that I've had as an actor because of Nat Turner's life. And to be authentic and do Nat Turner justice, you know, not only did I do the research, but you know, I studied, you know, with some acting teachers and acting coaches that really helped me, you know, embody of what I thought, who I thought Nat Turner was, and what I think he is, you know, his spirit. And I think one of the hardest challenging things were, for me, the most challenging thing was trying to figure out how to take the Bible that was being used to keep African Americans enslaved. How can I take the Bible and find sermons to preach on to rebut their thought process of what they understood the Bible to mean for them? So basically undoing the fact that they believe that it's justified to have slaves. Nat Turner was out there saying it's wrong.
Exactly.
And in the Bible it's wrong. And I think that was the hardest part for me, because to be honest with you, bro, it's really not hard I had to go certain places, but when you look at the history of this country, I mean, living back in those times, it's not really hard to make a decision to do what Nat Turner did.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
It's not really that hard to make that decision. So anybody who, family, friends, loved ones are being murdered in front of them, killed and castrated and all that, it's not that hard to want to get revenge. But what was challenging about Nat Turner is that he was a man of God. So he had to justify in his heart, he had to justify going out and doing what he did with God.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to come to terms with that and use it to draw power.
Yes.
See, that's the difference, you know. He used it to draw power. One thing he used to do is go in the woods. He was in the woods. He would talk to God. And people thought like he would talk to God and it'll start thundering and lightning. Like this dude was, I don't even think he was human. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He was probably sent from God, you know, himself.
Yeah. Because
of just the power he had, and everybody thought of him like that. But you know what though? You know, after they killed Nat Turner, you know what they did with him?
I don't know.
They ate him.
Whoa. You know what? I was reading about how Europeans would eat mummies and also make the remains medicine. So it's funny that you say that, because I guess in a weird way they thought they would have the mummies' power. But my daughter educated me on this, that earlier Europeans would take the mummies and they would eat them. So that's crazy that they did that with Nat Turner, but I didn't know that.
With Nat Turner, they did it because that killing him wasn't enough.
Wow.
So I don't think they you know, thought that. I didn't think they thought that it would help them in this situation to give them more power. I just think that they were so upset. But to think about it, Nat Turner had actually convinced a lot of whites to fight with him. So it wasn't just all black slaves fighting, you know? And I mean, just think how the power in that man to actually, prove that slavery was wrong through the Bible, and then convince the very people who was enslaving African Americans at that time, Africans, to not only free their slaves, but to actually pick up their guns and knives and machetes and fight with them.
Wow. And it also, I'm looking at this, man. They said they used his skin as purses and heirlooms. And man, that is wild. That is wild.
Yeah. So I mean, that was a challenging piece in the church. Oh man, I remember one time we did a scene where I was playing Nat Turner, and as Nat Turner, I was getting whipped.
Mm-hmm.
And as an actor, I really take what I do seriously. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm about the work. So I was doing the work as I was being whipped. I was doing the work, and I think, the director, and I don't think I know the director, and some elderly people there helping, they prayed over me.
Oh, wow.
They thought that something was wrong. They thought that, I don't know what they thought, but they prayed that I be released. Whatever was on me, released. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, keep it on me. Don't release it yet. I can handle it. I can hold it. Don't release it. I want this because I worked for it.
Yeah.
Denzel says something like, when you got to call on the ancestors, that's a powerful thing. And as an actor, we call on the ancestors, depending on a certain piece we're doing. If it's a piece, a period piece, dealing with slavery, we call on the ancestors. Because in order to go deep into that gut place, you have to. And so that's what I did for Nat Turner, man. I did everything that I could possibly to do justice to him. And this was live here, so it was different every night. But man, that the sermons was a challenge for me. Actually sculpting the whole plan within the play, because the plan wasn't in the script. The script just told the story of Nat Turner and what he did with all these former slaves, but the plan wasn't in there.
Okay.
And so I had to come up with the plan. Like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get all these guys together? It's not in the script. It doesn't say Nat Turner calls all the guys together and they have a meeting. No, it doesn't say that. How do I do that? So I had to find places during the congregations, during the sermons with the congregation. And so another challenge was, how do I get the information to these guys, these men and women, about what we have to do without the whites, the slave owners, knowing.
Yeah.
While we're in church, because they watched the whole church sermon. Like, Black folks couldn't have a church sermon, period, without all the whites standing around watching.
Wow. You know what? I always assumed that would be our time of peace. They could at least give us peace during church.
But think about this. They wouldn't allow blacks to even go inside. They had to have church outside so they can be seen.
Wow.
First.
Yeah, I didn't
Down
notice
the line, they started moving inside. But you notice, when you watch any slave movies, anytime they're congregating, getting together, they either in their slave quarters or they outside under a tree or around. They could. When you talk about fraternities and sororities, why were they created? Because Black people couldn't congregate without having kickback, getting harassed by law enforcement at that time.
You know what's crazy? I was talking to one of my friends, man, just to kind of veer off and tie it together. In my Navy career, they would always say, when three of us were together, three brothers, They'd be like, uh-oh, something's going on. Three brothers are congregating with each other. I always thought it was a joke, but there was a meaning behind that. So to take back what you were saying in congregation.
Yeah, they'll break it up, because they think you're planning.
Yeah.
And so keeping that in mind when I was playing Nat Turner, keeping that in mind, it was never more than 3 of us together before we started the fighting. So even while we was in the church, I didn't even have the guys stand together. Like during the play, it was weird. It was during the play, the director gave me the freedom to move people around on stage. So keeping in my mind that we are being watched, and keeping in my mind as I'm playing that Turner that they could be suspecting that we're planning something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're on this. I didn't know, So what I would do is, while we're doing the play, I would take a brother out and I call him up while I'm doing the play, while we're doing the show. I'm doing the dialogue and everything. This don't have anything to do with the show, with what's in the script. So, usually that comes under direction. The director does all this. And, it's wonderfully directed also. But I would pick one of them out as I'm preaching, and I'm preaching. I would pick one of them out of the group, and I pick him out, and I lay my hand on his head and pray. And I wouldn't even pray out loud. I just closed my eyes on him. When I had a split second of silence, I closed my eyes on him while I'm holding his hand, and then my hand on his head. I closed my eyes, and I just pray for him silently in my head, and I look him in his eye, and I look to where I want him to go. And he just go through that way. So I did that like a few times, and then it became, okay, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to do that every night.
Yeah.
And as I'm telling them to go, I'm actually planning who we want with us while we go on this killing spree.
Wow.
Of revenge. And so that's how I kind of, made it clear in my head as far as how I was going to plan this without them knowing. And there were certain things, as I'm talking to one of them, I'm looking back at the slave owners looking at us, laughing and smiling and stuff, I'm laughing and smiling, but I'm saying, yeah, man, we're going to make a run for it. We're meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to meet over by the lake. So when we meet at the lake, that's when we're going to bring all the guns, and we're going to get all the knives and machetes, and we're going to meet there. We're going to have a meeting. Then we're going to go to old man Joe's plantation, and we're going to kill everybody in that place. We're just going to, with a smile,
Yeah.
Because every day, back then, man, it's like, if you wasn't smiling, they thought something was wrong.
Oh yeah.
Which I related to my life now, because I'm a pretty, football player, 6 feet, over 200 pounds, pretty big guy. So when I'm not smiling, people think I'm dangerous.
Wow. You know what? I was watching a documentary, and they were talking about that profiling. And they had a kid my man was 6'5", 13 or 14, and there was other young black men. And he was like, you guys don't understand. I'm bigger than you guys, and I have to seem jovial, because if I don't, it's an automatic. And it's sad it's like that, because even when you say back then, it's like, and even now we're still in the same predicament.
It's the same predicament. It's actually worse now, because back then we only got that from whites.
Mm-hmm.
It's worse now because we get them from black and white now.
Oh yeah.
If you a guy, a black guy, and you a pretty big black guy, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. My nephew is 6'8".
Wow.
130 pounds. One of the top offensive linemen in college football.
Mm-hmm.
There's a strong possibility he may be the first pick in the draft.
Wow.
And there's an incident. I was in Dallas visiting him. We were working out and training and stuff. And we went to Walmart, man. And we're in Walmart. And we're getting spinach and all this healthy stuff, you know. And this guy in front of us, he turned around like he was bothered by Evan's size and by my size. Evan must be bigger than me, you know. And the dude, Evan, was like, "Hey man, what's up? You know, like, you all right? What's up?" The dude pulled out a knife.
Wow.
He pulled out a knife, man, and I don't know if he was scared. I don't know what was going on, but you know. And so I told Evan after that, you know, we check it out. I'm like, we watching that dude. We watching him too, you know. So after that, I told Evan, I said, "Listen, man," I said, "You know, you're gonna have some security, right?"
Yeah. Oh yeah. And it's funny too. You wear the football, you're all American, but then when you take that off, and same thing in the military, you serve or you're in uniform. Hey, thank you for your service. But when you take that off and live your everyday life, you take off that jersey, here you go.
Yeah. And you know, I mean, how could you come on, you 6'8", 330, you wearing an Alabama sweatshirt, your name and like pictures all over freaking television and the internet. Millions of people know who you are.
Yeah.
Some people don't.
Yep. And I wanted to ask you a question and circle back to Ava, and then you being in the NFL. How did you feel about Kaepernick? How did you feel about his Netflix series? And then overall, because right now the NFL is definitely in the news about the coach Kaepernick. How do you feel about those situations as far as race relations with the NFL? And what was your experience?
My experience in college and in NFL, I didn't have any racial type experiences or anything like that. And I think at that time, you know, when I played, I didn't really think that I was on a platform so big to really make a change. Mm-hmm. When something happens, you know, and I mean, I've had things happen in my family through, you know, race, you know, it's, you know, racially motivated things that happened to me that was racially motivated. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's there. I know it exists. I know it's there. And I applaud Colin Kaepernick because, you know, it's about being conscious and it's about standing up for something, you know what I'm saying? And you know, somebody who takes that chance to lose, who takes a chance of losing everything, you know, to make a change.
Yeah.
And, you know, Colin Kaepernick, when he went down to one knee, that was a loud speech.
Yeah.
And it's sad to say that all that Colin has done for not just Black people, but for not for just people of color, but for white people also. Mm-hmm. It's just a little minute fraction, man, of people that really got it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what it looks like.
So when you think about it, you take 100% of a pie, and we keep slicing at that pie, and we've been slicing at that pie ever since Nat Turner.
Yeah,
we've been slicing, and then it got to Colin Kaepernick wanted a slice. Mm-hmm. And he had to take a slice, but he wanted a big enough slice to where it takes a large chunk away.
Yeah.
The pie represents racism. So that big piece that he took, Martin Luther King took a big piece. Mm-hmm. Malcolm X took a piece. Mm-hmm. You know, every person that have put themselves out there and have spoke up for people of color on a large scale. I mean, we all see what happened. So Colin knew.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was well aware.
He knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's when he put us over his love.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, man. That's
powerful. And I wonder, you made me think of something too. I want to get your thoughts on the Super Bowl. And I just realized that Eminem took a knee at the Super Bowl performance.
Yeah. He took a knee. You know, man, people, everybody, every individual that's on that platform is going to find something to, even the whole halftime show was a statement.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, we're here. We're here. Listen to the music. You want to know who we are? Listen to the music. You want to know what we've been through, what we're going through now? Listen to the music. And I think one of the most fascinating things is that we're closer as a people than people think we are.
Yeah.
Much closer. Very. Even the East Coast, West Coast rap thing. Those guys be sitting in their freaking castles with each other, man. Drinking freaking $20,000 bourbon, bottles of bourbon, and talking, but out here in public, everybody think they want to kill each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's wild, man. It's wild.
No, and I was actually thinking about Michael Jordan. To this day, his shoes, that man is a $1 billion industry with his shoes, and people to this day, how long has he been out of the game? Still, his shoes are still, if not more than what they were when he was playing.
Because he was the first to do it like that. He was the first. Shout out to Michael Jordan, frat brother, Q's in the house.
Okay.
You know, Fall 92 New Zeta, West Virginia University. To all the bros out there, shout out to the Deltas, the Reds, our sisters in love.
So, Jimmy, man, all my great interviews, man, it seems like they go by so fast. And thank you for sharing your story. Before I go, man, I want to ask you, well, actually 2 questions. My first one is like, what would you give somebody that is listening and aspired to be like you? What would be your advice? And then, of course, the last one is shameless promotion. Where can people find you and what you got going on 2022 and beyond?
All right. Well, first of all, I would say to people, don't be like me.
Okay.
Be yourself. Be yourself. If you want to take a certain route that I've taken in my career, I mean that's fine. But a lot of people take that. They take those. But the biggest thing I can say, if you want to go out there and pursue this acting career, you know, or just really anything in life, be yourself and be unapologetic about it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's who you are. And when we get in our heads and start thinking we have to be somebody else to make someone else, you know, feel better, then we're losing ourselves. And at the end of the day, as long as you be yourself, without all the bad habits, take all the bad habits out.
Okay.
Just be you. You know, man, the doors were open. The skies were open for you. You know, the ocean were apart. So you can walk. It's being yourself and to keep working, you know, to keep working hard and enjoy life. Enjoy the process. That's what I would say to people. Enjoy every moment, man, that you're in your career, whether it's up or down. You know? Yeah.
And then 2022 and beyond, what can we expect and where can people find you on the social media? Shameless promotion time.
Yeah. You know, on Instagram, you can find me at jimmygaryjr. jimmygaryjr. Instagram, on Twitter, you can find me at jgarynewyork. jgarynewyork. Facebook, jgarynewyork. Or you can just Google Jimmy Gary Jr. and there's everything will pop up. My IMDb, go check me out on IMDb, International Movie Database, and I got about 43 to 50 credits. I'm not sure.
Wow.
And check out some of the things that I've done, you know. I went through that period, man, where I had my head down just grinding because like I said earlier, you know, I was like, it was just on my mind, you know, when I book something and, you know, I make some money, I'm like, okay, I'm going to Florida because I got to, you know what I'm saying? This is one of those things, you know, I stuck to it, man. And that's it. Have an unselfish, we should always have, and we have our selfish dream. We have that. But we also have to walk around with an unselfish dream for someone else. You know, we have to put ourselves aside sometimes. We have to, and it's never putting our dream aside, because by helping someone else, we're still helping our own dream, you know, because that's how things work. But walk through this life, man, just wanting to open doors for people. And if we walk through this life opening doors for people, guess what? Those doors, they open for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, Jimmy, again, man, thank you for your time and thank you for dropping knowledge. And ladies and gentlemen, again, another great interview on Deeper Than Music with multi-talented former NFL player, actor, producer, Jimmy Gary Jr. here on Deeper Than Music.
Deeper Than Music Radio.